Come join us now. Remember, we're New Life Evangelistic Center, the church that's raising the stand.
And some 150 years after the city of Jerusalem was destroyed. And after this long time, the walls of the city of Jerusalem were still in rubbles. They were in the land, but they didn't correct or build the city. Y'all almost with me. Before this, citizens of Jerusalem had tried to rebuild the walls, but had failed. In Ezra, the 4th chapter, the 6th to the 23rd verse, we see that some 75 years before they tried to rebuild the walls, but were stopped by the enemies. No one thought this obstacle could be overcome. So the walls lay in ruin, and the people stayed in trouble. That disturbed me when I began to read the history of the background, because when Nehemiah received the message, here's what caught my attention. There were people living in Jerusalem, and it was a mess. They became comfortable living in a place with torn down walls and in shambles. And they were trying to worship God from the rubbles. What once was a beautiful city and an oasis in the desert was now a place of shame and reproach. But people tried to worship there. Where you going, preacher? When we look at the condition of the church, we can all agree it's in a mess. But somehow, through hypocrisy and somehow through the drama that's in church, we try to still worship. And it's at the point where we're starting to let anything and everything go. How many of you have maintenance issues at your house? Things that need to be done around the house. Maybe it's a squeaky door. Maybe it's that little chirping noise that tells you you need to replace the battery in your smoke detector. Maybe it's screens on the back of your porch that ripped, that you haven't repaired. Maybe it's the leaky faucet, the toilet that flushes sometimes if too much is not deposited. The house that needs painting, the windows that need fixing. And when you first notice it, it bothered you, but after a while you learn to live with the squeaky door, the leaky faucet, the cracked towel, the ripped up carpet. You learn to live with it. And it's only until somebody come to your house It's only when someone points out to you, when are you going to do something about that problem? Well, that's where we are in the church. Somehow we think that this is normal. And we've embraced our leaky faucets. We've embraced our ripped up carpets. We embrace the condition, and we're trying to worship in a mess. And somehow it's not resonating in our spirit. Somehow how we're trying to get a breakthrough when we really need a breakout. That's where this message comes. When Nehemiah asked about the condition of the church, and they told him, says that he became disturbed in his spirit. Now, understand something. He was living in Babylon, in the palace with the king. But he had enough concern about the motherland. You may not be in the mess, but if you're connected with God, it shouldn't bother you. You shouldn't be talking, well, that's just them. It says that he was disturbed. So much and so that it provoked him to do something. Now, I noticed something. There are three conditions or states of this church. If I could categorize them, I want to deal with this today. And the title of this message is The Real Condition of the Church. Now, allow me to just take a few more minutes to share with you what I think are the three, if I had to give an analogy of the church today, I would categorize it or give these three analogies. Write these down, tweet somebody, Facebook somebody these, as we talk about the real condition of the church. When I look at the church, the first thing that I see as a condition of the church has become a theater. Performing. The church is a theater. In show business, actors and actresses are paid to portray a character in a true life scene. They are given applause and even awards if their performance appears real. They put on an act or a performance because you can't bring real life drama to the stage. But one must always remember it's not real. Can I talk about the theater church? When you look at the church today, anytime you don't have real power or a real relationship, you have to fake it to make it. Can I get you to be transparent for just a moment? How many of us, we came in here and we wanted to connect with God, but there was no unction, no real connection on the inside, but you saw folk around you who looked like they were connecting, so you joined into their connectivity. In other words, you tried to look like them, you tried to shout like them, you tried to be like them, but there was an emptiness and a void in you. And so the next thing you decide to do so that you won't look like a sore thumb or you won't stick out, you begin to emulate what you thought was spirituality. Is anybody with me? Anybody ever faked a praise? Looked like you had it, looked like God had touched you, looked like you was in the spirit, but you had one eye open and one eye closed, trying to wonder when the praise service would end. Trying to clap your hands when you know there was nothing on the inside. So we go into a performance mode because we want people around us to think that we got something that we really don't have. Instead of taking the time out to get it, we rather fake it to make it.